It began with a single shot, sound that echoed across continents and ended the peace of an age. The year was 1914. Europe stood proud kings in their palaces, empires shining beneath golden flags. Yet beneath that glory lay tension, fear, and pride. A spark was all it needed. Sarajevo, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary, rides through the crowded streets. Cheers echo until 2 gunshots cut through the air. The assassin, a young man named Gavrilo Princip, had no idea he had just changed the world. Within days, threats became ultimatums. Ultimatums became declarations. And soon, the world's greatest powers were calling their armies to war. Germany stood with Austria-Hungary. Russia with Serbia. France joined Russia. Britain followed after Germany invaded neutral Belgium. The alliances were set, and so was the fate of millions. In August 1914, soldiers marched through city streets, waving at their families, singing songs of victory. They believed it would be over by Christmas. None of them knew they were marching into 4 years of horror. Germany attacked France through Belgium. The British and French stood their ground. The fighting was fast, brutal, and bloody. But when both sides dug in, the war stopped moving, and the Western Front was born. From the North Sea to the Swiss border, thousands of miles of trenches scarred the earth. Its soldiers lived, fought, and died in the mud. Rats as big as cats. The stench of death. Men trembling in fear as shells screamed overhead, over the top, command that froze blood. He climbed out of the trenches into machine gun fire. Thousands fell within seconds. It wasn't glory, it was slaughter. And as the months passed, both sides realized no one was winning. While the Western Front drowned in mud, other battles raged elsewhere. On the Eastern Front, Germany and Austria-Hungary fought Russia in brutal, endless campaigns. In the Middle East, the Ottoman Empire joined the Central Powers, opening new fronts in Gallipoli, Palestine, and Mesopotamia. From Africa to Asia, colonial troops were pulled into a war they barely understood. The world had never seen conflict on such a scale. This wasn't just Europe's war anymore, it was humanity's war. While men fought in the trenches, the world behind them changed forever. Women stepped into the factories building weapons, driving trucks, saving lives as nurses. Propaganda filled the streets. Fight for your country. Victory is near. But the letters from the front told a different story. Grief grew. Food ran short. Hope began to fade. Mothers waited for sons who would never return. The war had reached every home, even those far from the front lines. 1916, the year when hope nearly died. At Verdun, France and Germany fought for 10 long months. Every hill, every trench was soaked in blood. Over 700,000 men lost for a few miles of land. To help their allies, the British attacked at the Somme. On the first day alone, 60,000 British soldiers fell. The sound of machine guns never stopped. Men walked into walls of bullets. Generals watched from maps while soldiers drowned in mud. The Great War had become a nightmare with no end. By 1917, the world was breaking apart. Russia, bled dry by war, erupted in revolution. Tsar Nicholas abdicated. The Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, seized power and made peace with Germany. The Eastern Front fell silent. But another power was rising. After the sinking of the Lusitania and the discovery of Germany's secret telegram to Mexico, the United States declared war. Fresh American soldiers crossed the Atlantic, bringing hope, food, and strength to the exhausted Allies. In early 1918, Germany launched one final gambler, massive spring offensive, to crush the Allies before the Americans could fully arrive. For a moment, they broke through. Paris was in sight, but they had nothing left to give. The Allies counterattacked with full-force American troops, French resilience, British tanks. The German lines cracked. Morale collapsed. In the streets of Berlin, revolution began. Kaiser fled and Germany begged for peace. On November 11, 1918, at 11 a.m., the guns finally fell silent. After 4 years, the war was over, but the silence was filled with ghosts. Over 16 million lives lost. Empires gone, the Ottoman, Austro-Hungarian, German, and Russian. Cities destroyed, families shattered, the victors gathered in Versailles, France, to decide the future. Germany was forced to accept blame, to pay for the damage, to kneel before the world. But beneath that treaty, resentment grew. The seeds of the next war were being planted even before the ink was dry. World War I wasn't just a war of soldiers. It was a war of poets, nurses, workers, and families. A war that changed art, politics, and the very soul of humanity. The men who fought didn't just die for borders. They died for what they believed would be the last war. The war to end all wars, but history had other plans. And yet, from the ruins, the world learned something. Courage, compassion, the value of peace. Today, when we see poppies bloom on silent fields, we remember that even in the darkest times, hope can survive. It began with one bullet. It ended with millions of graves. But the memory of those who fell still whispers to us, never again. If you felt the story of World War I today, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to keep history alive. One story at a time.